Welcome to Degenerates and Dragons.
I thought this was going to be hard.
Welcome to Degenerates and Dragons.
Who wants some of the Ripper?
They're state champs, baby. Woo!
Smoke arrows!
He's clearly Captain Crunch. I'm a man of the people.
Shattered world.
Ripper knows! Ripper always knows!
And welcome to another episode of the Degecast, the show that's typically about our YouTube show, Degenerates and Dragons, but today I'm bringing you guys something a little bit different. Now, I am Nate Lindberg, and you can find me on Twitter at Nate Lindberg, and you can follow our brand at Degetime, that's Degetime. Now, as some of you may know, I'm the co-host of another podcast that has nothing to do with the Degetime universe. I recorded this a few months ago for my other show, but unfortunately, due to reasons a little bit beyond my control, and I think kind of some other people's control as well, it never aired. So I thought, why let it go to waste? So you know what, I'm going to stop yammering my January 2021 gums, and I'm going to cut over to Past Nate to bring you an interview with Scott Guerin, the co-owner of the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. I am Nate Lindberg, one of the hosts of the PW Torch Thursday Dailycast, PWT Talks NXT. Now, traditionally on the show, Kelly Wells, Tom Staup, and I spend our time chatting with all of you about, well, NXT. Today, I thought I'd try to bring you something still somewhat pertaining to NXT, but a little different than normal. I had the opportunity to take a 15-minute drive down the road to North Andover, Massachusetts, and check out the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. Now, this is a school that's seen a plethora of talent walk through its doors over the years. Tommaso Ciampa, Kofi Kingston, Sasha Banks, Dominik Dijakovic, and my man Oni Lorcan are just a few of the names on the list of graduates. Originally, this school went under a much different name, the Killer Kowalski School of Professional Wrestling, and eventually under the tutelage of a former Kowalski student, Brian Fury, the school became the Chaotic Training Center, a facility to train talent for the Chaotic Wrestling promotion based in Lowell, Massachusetts. Having been rebranded as the New England Pro Wrestling Academy for the past few years, ownership has recently changed hands once again. Kevin Bowe, known on the independent circuit as Chase Del Monte, and Scott Guerin, the former Max Smashmaster from Shikara, stepped up and recently purchased the school. Well, Scott and I weren't ever super close, bestest best friends like Kelly and I, right Kelly? Right? Scott Guerin and I would cross paths once or twice throughout high school through a mutual wrestling friend and a couple other times throughout the course of the years. However, I saw on Facebook that he posted that he was the proud new owner of this historic school, and of course I had to shoot him a congratulatory message. As long as I would adhere to their COVID policy, of course, he offered to let me come and check out the school. Considering how many of the school's graduates have made their way into not just WWE, but into NXT, I asked, and Scott agreed, to sit down with me for a little bit to talk about what it's like trying to run a wrestling school in the midst of a global pandemic. Now, Scott and I were socially distanced and wearing masks while recording, so the audio quality is a little bit less than ideal, and you might also hear in the background some of his students still bumping around in the ring. However, with that said, let us jump into my chat with Scott Guerin, the co-owner of the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. Scott, thank you for taking some time sitting down with me today and talking about New England Pro Wrestling Academy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man, no problem. So, I understand we are now under new ownership.
We are under new ownership at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. About early June, I got a call asking if I wanted to purchase the New England Pro Wrestling Academy with another owner. Chase Del Monte is the other owner here. And we jumped at the decision even during a pandemic. So we've been just trying to make do. You know, it's a difficult time to own a business and start a business.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. You know, but I mean, so the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, you know, from what I understand, you've got it's got a pretty storied lineage.
Yeah. So technically, we go back to the days of Killer Kowalski. So. The Killer Kowalski School of Professional Wrestling that was in Malden, Massachusetts. The lineage comes right to us. Now, I'm never going to say that I trained the people that Killer Kowalski trained,
right,
or even the person before me trained who Killer Kowalski trained. But there's a number of names that it's nice to have that lineage and that reputation.
Sure.
Along with that, the New England Pro Wrestling Academy has also built a great reputation in the Chaotic Training Center before that. So we have three different schools that have kind of come under this banner, and just a lot lots of quality students, wrestlers, professionals, Hall of Famers have come through this lineage of schools.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I thought. And the Chaotic Training Center, this kind of turned, because I was familiar with the Chaotic Training Center. This turned into.
So yeah, at around 2011, it turned into the New England Pro Wrestling Academy.
Okay.
Under the ownership of Brian Fury.
Yep.
And then, so it was still affiliated with Chaotic Wrestling, which is our wrestling company. That we're affiliated here with the school. So that's out of Lowell, Massachusetts. And so yeah, we just, took over that name. There's a ton of people that have come through there. If you've watched wrestling in the last 10 years, you know someone who's come from our school, even if you've only watched indies. So there's a lot of great people that we've seen through these doors. But yeah, we took it over and able, hopefully, to make more new stars coming.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
So now, you were talking about you kind of this current environment and starting a new business and even keeping the doors open on some of them. If you guys can't tell, we might be a little bit muffled because we are wearing masks. What are you guys kind of doing for COVID prevention and things like that? As you guys kind of ramp back up.
Yeah, and as you said that, you glanced over at our door over here. So these are the Massachusetts COVID-19 checklist. So we have gone through the proper authorities in the town, and then they went to the state, and we were able to get full clearance to start our, well, I guess full clearance isn't the right thing, but clearance to start our business back up pretty much. So we run in pod sessions, which that means is that I have a group of 9 students, so it's a total of 10 people, and we don't intermingle with the other groups of students in the school.
Okay.
So what you saw here today, I had 4 students, right?
Yep.
Those are just 4 of my 9 students. I will only see those 9 students for what is known as a season, right? So I can only train with them, I can only be around them, so it's only a group of 10 people that I'm working with. We have about 5 other groups maybe about 4 other groups of people, because we have new students and we have advanced students. I train the intermediate students. So we have to have trainers for all those as well. So it can be a little bit tricky. Okay, I'm going to do my class at right now, which, is kind of breaking the third wall. It's not Wednesday night or whenever you're hearing this. It's, it's actually a Sunday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. So it's kind of like my weekend class, and then I also have one on Thursday night. So I have to pick and choose when I can be here. And then there's other classes that come in, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. We have 2 classes on Saturday, so one in the early morning. We do a clean, and then we have one in the evening as well. So on top of that, we're cleaning everything. We have sanitation stations set up. So literally everything that they've wanted us to do, we had it set up. Mm-hmm. And one thing is that someone called and said that we were running classes, quote, illegally.
They called the authorities or something?
Yes, yeah. So they called the health inspector, which is probably who you would call. But then they also called the local newspaper. So
great.
You can imagine what kind of person was doing that, right? So
sure,
just trying to take down a new business, right? And when they came in, they realized, you guys are doing everything via the CDC guidelines. Okay, cool. Here you go. And then the newspaper came out and did a great article on us, kind of persevering through COVID. So it actually all worked out with us in the end, because we weren't sure if we were going to say that we're open, because we didn't want to draw in too many new customers, because we just can't have so many people. Granted, we want new customers. We want to be able to train new students, and we're doing that. But every X amount of students, we need to have a new trainer, and that's additional people coming in and finding the time to just do this. So thankfully, we've been more than fortunate to have a good crop of new students, new trainers. Everyone's enthusiastic here, and we're cleared by the state to do what we're doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, I mean, so for you guys that are listening, I got to sit down for about an hour and watch Scott train his 4 students, and it was really cool, interesting, and you guys were training on drop kicks.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been a wrestling fan now for most of my life, and it's obviously you know what goes into, or you have an idea of timing and things like that, but just kind of watching the timing in things that go into something as quote simple as a drop kick, it's cool to kind of get a little peek behind the curtain like that.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say simple because as you saw, I'm not saying that you're saying it that way, but it's as common as a drop kick, right? Like something that you see so often, you don't realize the mechanics of how dangerous or difficult, and every step matters and everything. And when you see, I'm sure you saw some that were wonky because I'm only training intermediate students, right?
Yep.
You see, okay, that's not right. Oh, he's stepping in the wrong place and landing under the person as they're flying through the air, right? Like there's a massive amount of variables that could destroy someone's life for a long period of time if it goes wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all in training, the proper footwork. And what we were working on today is international, so it's the most basic spot. But I like to say that international is like the alphabet of the international language of wrestling.
Okay.
Right? So if you can get every little thing down in an international spot, which is tie-up, headlock, shoot-off, tackle, drop-down, leapfrog, hip toss, arm drag, either a body slam or a drop kick, and then a pinfall, every single thing in there builds to everything that you need to have a professional wrestling match in the mechanic sense.
Sure.
And then once you get all that down, then you can add in the body language, the emotion, the facial expressions, all those things then come after. And so it's really, if you can get through a beautiful international, you can have a match with anyone in the world. No. So that's what we're working on. We want to have the best internationals because then we have the best fundamentals.
No, 100%. Now you said these are intermediate students. So you have 4 of them. How many? And I know you said you have 9. So you have any more like advanced level students, or like I guess the different level.
Yeah. So this school was operating before COVID hit, so there was a batch of students there. So yeah, we have about 9 advanced students, 9 or so intermediate students, and we have a big crop of beginner students.
Cool.
Anthony Green, who recently got signed by WWE, came from us. So he was here up until right before he left for, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but right before he went on
before he left here.
Yeah, went on his sabbatical, right?
Yes.
To the vineyard for the summer. He was with us right up till then, so he was here. His girlfriend was here, so they left. Now there was two spots that open, and then at the end of this, quote, season that we're doing, which is about 2 months, and then we'll switch up, trainers. We'll take 2 weeks off. We'll switch up trainers, and then, switch up students so we can get intermediate students then bumped up to that advanced level, and then beginners bumped into our intermediate class. So it's tricky. There's no handbook on how to run a wrestling school in the pandemic.
Yeah,
we're writing it right now, right? And we're scribbling out sentences left and right, trying to figure out what's the proper way to do all these things. So it's difficult, but I find it so incredibly rewarding because I was a trainer here for 3 years prior to purchasing it. So thankfully, I have a bit of training experience there, and teaching in a different field before this too also helps. Because one thing we said is we want to run this like a real business. We don't want to run it like the wrestling business. We don't want to be carnies. We don't want to be, dirt bags or creepers or anything like that. Like,
I'm going to applaud you guys.
right. There's so many things that we're trying to bring to the new 21st century, I think, which will happen after this. So just making it super safe, super positive. We're not coming in here and screaming in people's faces or, throwing them out or anything like that if they can't do a drop down. Like, we want this is a business. And there are people who love wrestling, and then find another place where you can be surrounded by like-minded people who love the thing you like, that you've been ostracized for your entire life just for liking. Right? That's what professional wrestling schools should be. And the great ones move on, and the good ones stay. And even though the lower ones who necessarily can't do it, there's a spot for you too. You want to help us run social media? We need those people. You want to help us at the shows and watch a free show and hang out with people who you like? You can absolutely do that. There's always going to be a spot for someone in professional wrestling, even if it's not in the ring.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a damn good point. You guys, you need people to build the ring. You need people to, concessions, security, all the stuff. Right. Yeah, it takes an army of people.
It absolutely does. So even these little shows, that we only draw like 200-300 people. We need a lot of people to work for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and obviously we can't do it right now, but it's also good to see the ones who are struggling, the ones who are hurting, that just can't figure something out, and then they get it. that's the real thing. Any person, not even a good teacher, can train high quality athletes and smart people, right? Like, it's hard to bring in the people who maybe have a learning disability. I grew up with a learning disability. It was difficult for me to learn to do certain things in wrestling. It's hard to train people who are not athletic to be a professional athlete, right?
Right.
So it takes a lot to be a good trainer, and hopefully I'm learning that to then be a great trainer one day, because I'm still new in my training, tier.
Sure. So, talking a little bit about your background and things like that. So you said you've been here for about 3 years.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about your background, but when did you get your start? And kind of, I guess, talk a little bit about what brought you here, what got you here.
Yeah, so I always grew up. I was in New England, born and raised in Massachusetts. So I started training in 2004 at a school called Top Rope Pro Wrestling Academy, which the name of this one kind of came from that one. And it was under Steve Bradley, who was an old, he was a WWE contracted wrestler for a long time, but he never made it to television, right? He was starting to. They were going to bring him up. And he's most famously known that they brought him in to be WWE's version of Rob Van Dam, and then they signed Rob Van Dam. He was an excellent wrestler.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's what he was brought in, and he could do everything, and he was a big boy.
Yeah, he was cool. He was good. He was good.
He was a great wrestler. And unfortunately, we lost him in 2008. But he also spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico. He spent a lot of time in Memphis, right, on like Power Pro TV and all these great things that you've heard of and wish you could see live these days. He spent a lot of time there, so he trained me. And then I worked around New England for a few years, and eventually in 2012, I started working for Chikara. So Chikara is a company based out of Philadelphia that's no longer around. But when I was with Chikara, I was living up here, and I would just travel to the shows. It was completely family friendly. It was everything I loved about wrestling. It was an amalgamation of comic books, wrestling, great storytelling, all that stuff. So that really helped me, learn a lot about the psychology and everything in wrestling, and then I can bring it here and hopefully teach it to these kids. So yeah, I've been around for this is my 17th year in pro wrestling.
Nice. So what do you think the future holds? I mean, obviously the future is a little uncertain right now for the most of the world, but in a perfect world, what do you think the future kind of holds for you guys here, and you're putting on shows and things like that?
Yeah, so I personally don't have anything to do with chaotic wrestling in the owner standpoint.
Okay.
But the other owner does here. So we have talked about a little bit about just trying to figure out what that vision is. We don't know what shows are going to be happening in the next even year.
Right.
So we have a plan for this next coming year. We don't have anything set in stone, so it's hard for me to say exactly what's going to happen.
Sure.
Because we literally don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
We have a plan, but you know how plans go.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're able to eventually kind of reboot and get started up and have a fresh batch of wrestlers who are out there and trying to be hungry, and thankfully it would be nice if COVID could just
go away.
Yeah, go away.
Yeah.
F off. Whatever it is, because that would just make running a business way easier.
You have this building, this facility here. From what I understand, you just did a little bit of a reconstruction, a little facelift, if you will.
Yeah. So what we did is we came in here, and with new ownership, we wanted it to feel new as well. So we came in here, and this building classically had purple and yellow paint on the walls.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Out there is extremely purple and yellow, and those were Killer Kowalski's colors, so that's why they did it. But
Sure.
Every new wrestler who came in had no idea what this was about, so it was really only for a few of us. So what we did is we repainted. We got brand new rubber mat flooring, so the entire facility can be used in a different way. We moved the rings over, so we opened up a massive amount of space, and we put it in a full-scale gym. So we have 4 squat racks, 4 benches, 2 Aerodyne bikes, 2 row machines, over 2,000 pounds in weights, bumpers, kettlebells, everything you could possibly need. So that way, if you are coming to professional wrestling school, usually with professional wrestling, you need to work out. You need to be in shape. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but you need to be able to physically lift someone above your head, because that's just part of the game, right?
Right.
So why not offer that in a different way, so people aren't paying for two things. They're not paying for a gym membership and a wrestling school. You're getting all in one, which is a better deal than,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going here. I only have to go one place. I don't have to intermingle with, at a gym with a number of people who I don't know. I can go there, I can be around my crew, and then I can have a great workout and not have to worry about possible contamination. So there's many different things. It was a big investment because that stuff's not cheap, and it's also not common these days because of people trying to do their own home gyms.
Right.
So we made a big investment, and we're trying to, hopefully make the school the place to be. So we have that. We're putting in new carpets. We're just trying to make everything as good as possible. A portion of the office we've talked about even turning it into like a little multimedia center. So if you want to come up here and do a promo, you can come up here and film a promo in front of like a backdrop, even a green screen, things like that. So that way we can just have a full-fledged, almost like a mini PC is what we're trying to build. So if we build a mini performance center, because they have the best wrestling school in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Why not try to be a mini version of that rather than, hey, you want to come learn how to wrestle in the basement of a church or something like that, which is unbelievably common in wrestling.
Right. I mean, hey, the Stu Hart dungeon, is one of the most famous places, but yeah, it was just a basement.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a basement. They had a gym in there too, which is people don't necessarily know. But yeah, so we're just trying to be the best school that we possibly can be and not have to worry about, our students having to do anything else. We want to give them almost like a full facility to train in rather than just a couple rings.
No, when I walked through the door, I wasn't sure what to really expect because obviously you hear all the stories of wrestlers training in barns and basements and things like that. And I didn't think that was necessarily it, but I'm definitely impressed with what you guys get going on. You get a couple rings in there, you get the full gym. It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, we actually have 3 rings, so
cool.
2 are set up, and if we needed to have a third one, we could move the gym equipment and set up a third one.
Cool.
That's definitely a post-COVID thing, and that would be a good problem to have if we had to set up a third ring. So that's just one of those things. Is like if we can maximize the space even more and potentially get more people in here, that's great.
Hell yeah.
We want to have the best school, so why not offer the most?
Absolutely. So talking about getting more people in here, if people do want to sign up or get a hold of you guys, if you're in the New England area or hey, if you want to travel, where can they find you guys and get a hold of you?
Yeah, so we do accept all students from New England right now. So anyone who's in New England or coming from
I guess COVID restrictions. You don't want to have people from everywhere.
If they do, so we have had people say, "Hey, I want to come up." We actually have someone coming up from Georgia this week.
Oh wow!
But they must provide a negative COVID test to come here. So yeah, if someone's coming from out of state or out of New England, then it must provide a negative COVID test. But if you wanted to sign up or you wanted more information, you can go to any pro wrestling, that's the letters NE, pro wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is New England Pro Wrestling Academy, and then also neprowrestling.com. There's a form there, so you can send that. Pretty much everything will just come to me. I make sure to deal with all those. That's one of my jobs. So if you're talking to anyone, you're going to be talking to me. And we can, get you signed up, get you ready to go. We have some really good kind of deals right now. We're doing like a COVID deal. So if you want to learn about that, then you can absolutely fill out the form and email us there.
Awesome. Well, hey, Scott, I certainly appreciate taking a little bit of time today and sitting down, talking with me about what you guys got going on here. And this is cool. I've never gotten to go into a pro wrestling school before, so it's kind of a little bit of a mark-out moment for me. I'm not going to lie.
I didn't know you'd never been in pro wrestling. I mean, you're always welcome here, so anytime you want to come down, for sure. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on and giving me your time.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Cool.